Hi, this is Shelley Kraft, and we're coming to you live on SNN Live. We're at the Cambridge House Resource Conference. We're in Toronto, and it's 2011. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll probably recognize this man. This is Mickey Fulp, the Mercenary Geologist. Mick.
Good to see you once again, Shelley.
It's always good to have you. You know, I know your insight is something that investors want to hear. So let's just start off with, off the top of your head, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? You're at this conference. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about how bad the markets have been over the summer. Probably a little worse than the usual summer doldrums, but starting to look a little better, maybe a little less shaky. I'm hoping, cautiously optimistic, let's say, that the junior resource sector is going to rebound. We're going to have another good fall like we did last year. Perhaps not as robust as last year, but hoping for a better fall than we saw in summer.
So you're a bear no longer. You're a baby bull, I guess.
I am optimistic, so yeah, let's, and with some qualifications, because the major markets still look shaky, but the junior resource market kind of took it in the shorts this summer, so I think we're in for some better times.
You know, that's a very good point you make, because it's an inverse reaction. Gold was going up, gold junior mining companies were going down. I don't get it.
Well, they're not miners. Let's put it this way. The gold miners will start to catch up with the price of gold because they're coming...
The exploration companies.
Yeah, the companies I cover, the advanced explorers, are usually the ones I pick. And that sector as a whole has suffered this summer. But a couple of my stocks that I am involved with, I covered in the past or I covered presently, are trading near all-time highs right now. So good companies selectively, cream rises to the crop, I think.
Well, you've also dallied into the rare earth element market pretty strongly when everybody else was still, they were thinking about it. You were, boom, right out front.
Well, we got in early, and that was good. Valuations are probably 50% of their highs, but look at the 52-week performance of, again, the cream of the crop in the rare earth element explorers, and they're still trading a good 100% above their prices a year ago. So we've had very good returns on that. That market has probably corrected even more than the gold market has corrected. But these are fundamentally strong companies, and you never have a loss or you never have a winner until you sell. So you got to remember that.
That's right. Paper losses are for paper tigers. The other thing that I wanted to ask you is, what influence was the debacle of the Chinese publicly traded companies, the announcement that they made about closing their doors to rare earth shipments, and some of the other news that came out, because it was a really big announcement. I mean, there was a rise in the rare earth elements when that announcement came out. I thought because of new offtake situations.
Well, that had was the major impetus for markets to rise drastically in the winter and the early spring. The general market correction that we've seen has taken the top off that, and so most of the really good companies have fallen back somewhat, but the fundamentals of this business remain the same. We have a shortage of certain rare earths. The Chinese are restricting quotas, and there is a demand that's not being filled. Prices are still near all-time highs. So all in all, I'm still very, very bullish on the sector. I think with these rare earth element companies, because they are speculative stocks, none of them have cash flow right now with the exception of Moly Corp, that you have to tread cautiously and only pick the cream of the crop again.
What do you look for? What determines to you the cream of the crop? Give me like one or two or three things that you look for. No, the special Mickey baby, this is like, this is why guys stand around at the booth while you're being interviewed. Give us some nuggets.
Well, it's the same old thing. I sound like a broken record here at times. Share structure, people, and project, and they all have to be right, and the stock has to be undervalued at the time that we pick it. And we pick undervalued stocks because I have a contrarian philosophy. I want to be the first in. I want to be in early on when I see big things coming. Now, sometimes that requires a lot of patience. Patience of virtue, being a contrarian. In the rare earth element space, it wasn't so. We got in early, and it
was a trigger.
And the trigger was missed. Well, the original trigger was Mr. Dines' newsletter that said this is the next big thing, or he's the new rare earth, the original rare earth bug, right? But that was well thought out. That was based on reality. So we're now post 2 years into this. We've seen the froth. We've seen the froth been cut off the top, but
I want to share something. So I go to a lot of conferences. A lot of them that are in the States. I look around. There's maybe one rare earth company out of 50, and I'm going. American investors are missing the boat on these. Look. Of course, you have to do research. You have to consult with experts, but you don't have to be, a genius to know that this is the growth area. And what do you think to that?
Well, there is a U.S. market. It's huge. There's 300 million of us and 30 million Canadians. So do the math. There's 10 times basically. Your audience is 10 times as large. So, and we've seen this in rare earth element space. What are the companies that have progressed the most, have had the greatest percentage rises in their market caps? It's the ones with Amex listings. Mm-hmm. And so reaching that American market is instrumental. It's necessary for a real advanced rare earth element company. So we've seen three of them now with Amex listing. The fourth is pending, and we will see better valuations once that company ends up with an Amex listing.
Let's get that website right out there.
MercenaryGeologist.com.
MercenaryGeologist.com. The one and only Mickey Fulp. And look for his article in the Micro Cap Review magazine.
Yes. Okay. We're talking about thorium and your energy issue. It's going to be fun.